In a small village in southern China, for 10 long years, not a single newborn drew breath. The fields lay barren, the wells ran dry, and an invisible shroud of despair settled over the community. It all began a decade earlier, when a man pulled a red carp from the river. 10 years before, this place, known as King Village, was a paradise on earth. The best fisherman there was Chiang, a brave but stubborn man. One day, as usual, he rowed his small boat to the center of the river and cast his net. When he hauled it in, there inside was an exceptionally beautiful carp, its scales shimmering like rubies. Its eyes seemed to stare directly at him. Just then, the sky suddenly darkened. This net had brought up a red carp unlike any he had ever seen. It was so striking that Chiang was sure it would fetch a handsome price. But the moment he touched the fish, an aged voice echoed in his ear, "Mortal, return me to the water, and I shall grant your village favorable winds and timely rains. Harm but a single scale, and I will bring calamity upon your entire village." Startled, Chiang looked around, but there was no one in sight. He wondered if it was just his imagination. Gazing at the struggling carp, he hesitated, but in the end, greed overpowered his fear. A shiver ran down Chiang's spine, but he glanced at the treasure in his hands, gritted his teeth, and muttered, "A talking fish. Must be a coincidence." Ignoring the warning, he took the carp home. That very night, Chiang dreamed the red carp transformed into a massive, glowing shadow, glaring at him furiously. At the same time, everyone sleeping in the village began tossing and turning, their faces twisted in pain. That night, every person in King Village had the same nightmare, a giant red carp staring at them from the darkness, the river flowing backward, plants withering away. When they awoke the next morning, the nightmare had become reality. From that day on, the curse took hold. Rain ceased to fall on King Village, and the well water turned bitter. Most terrifying of all, for 10 years, not a single child was born there. The village lost its vitality, becoming a forgotten corner. Everyone knew they had offended the river god. A decade later, Chiang had grown old and haggard, his eyes filled with guilt. He stood by the dried-up river bank, remembering the events of that fateful day. For 10 years, Chiang had lived each day in remorse. He decided he must be the one to end it. He recalled the village elders speaking of a mountain spirit dwelling at the river's source, who might hold the solution. So Chiang embarked on an arduous journey. He crossed mountains and ridges, pressing on unwavering through wind and rain. His shoes wore out, his clothes tore, but he did not give up. After enduring countless hardships, he finally found the mountain spirit. He knelt and confessed sincerely, "Great mountain spirit, the fault for all this lies in my greed from years past. Please, tell me how to lift the curse and save my village. I am willing to pay any price." From a soft glow emerged the voice of the mountain spirit, that Carp was the daughter of the river god, traveling in disguise. To break the curse, you must atone with a sincere heart. You must find her descendant, a small carp, also crimson red, return it to the river, and guard the river for 10 years as a sign of your repentance. Chiang returned to the village and kept watch by the river day and night. Finally, on a night of the full moon, he saw the small red carp. Gently, he cupped it in his hands, waded to the center of the river, and solemnly released it into the water. As the small carp entered the water, it emitted a soft red glow and swam into the depths. Immediately, dark clouds gathered, a clap of thunder roared, and rain poured down in torrents. The dry riverbed filled once more, and withered trees sprouted new buds. Rain. It's raining. The first rain in 10 years. The villagers rushed into the downpour, cheering and laughing. And that very night, a woman in the village who had long been unable to conceive announced she was with child. The curse was finally broken, and that is the story of the carp's curse. It reminds us to hold reverence for nature, for a moment of greed can bring unimaginable consequences. And the path to redemption often lies in sincere repentance and unwavering amends. Friends, does your hometown have any interesting folk tales or legends? Feel free to share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like. Until next time, see you later.